So I was put onto some news before going live today. Before we jump into um before we jump into some dungeons, because we're still doing dungeons. I kind of stopped after stream. So after I ended stream yesterday, we did let's see, the alliance trade. There we go. We did a few of these. We did Tender Valley, Alexandria, Field Station, obviously, Meso Terminal. We did a lot of these. Um, but, 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 we haven't done Mistwake. We haven't done Cludium. And I kind of want to save those two because I want to get the leveling dungeons out the way and then eventually trials. And I feel like trials would be quicker, so that's why I've left them. I think the only trial that might not be as quick will be like getting around to probably recollection and up. Maybe Interfos might not be as fast, but I feel like War Lador, War Core Lador, and Everkeep will be pretty quick in terms of trials. These I think tend to have issues. Actually, no, Hells on Rails have been going by pretty fast. Personally, I think I've seen Hell on Rails go by really fast. The alliance trades are not going to be that quick, especially this one. I don't think we skipped a mechanic here yet, or maybe we have. Maybe I've seen it. I don't know. I feel like I should get these out the way first too. But then we go through all of this. I want to get lightweight M2 out the way. Honeybee Lovely, not a big fan. No, not a big fan. Oh, 1 second. Let me see here. I feel like I just got pinged somewhere. There we go. Had a nice hearty breakfast. The first breakfast in a while. But, oh yeah, I was talking about news. So Stream Elements, I think, has been kind of struggling a bit lately. So I don't know if they were in the market for getting bought out or whatever, but they're joining Razer. They're joining Razer, and it seems like not a lot of things are going to change. But you know, that's always the thing that companies say. They say, oh, you know, nothing is really going to change, and then like a year or two down the line, people from the original teams are laid off, and then things are constantly shuffled. You know, there's a lot that goes on. I feel like when we are told certain things and it goes the opposite way. So yeah. Hi ACJ, hello. Good morning. Good afternoon. Well, morning for you still. You're central. I forgot, you're central. I was like, good after. Oh, wait, mate. Hold on, no. For you, it's morning still. It's lunchtime, but it's morning. I'm trying to think of which way I want to go. Do I want to go organics? I probably should go. I'm gonna go organics first. Boo, 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 boo. You know what? I should play a melee for once because I haven't played melee that often. Where's my Viper? Is this my Viper fit? Oh, I don't think I ever finished this. I was supposed to be doing like a Viper fit, like modern Viper fit. This is not really like my canon job for Mondo, but I wanted to do something modern with it. I've been struggling, bro. I've been struggling. Origenics. Wish you were afternoon already. That's fair. That's very fair. It's Friday, so, you know, just think after you get off work. After you get off work, you get to go home. You get to relax. You get to watch anime or YouTube or corn. I don't know. Whatever you want to watch. You have that chance to watch it. It is all up to you. You're very sore today. Yeah, this would be a rest. Yeah, a rest day. Definitely big rest. Man, I am so jealous. I wish no. I was gonna say no. It's funny because Parrish used to work from home on Fridays. And now he's at work. Well, he's probably close to being done with work for the day, actually. Rest day is Sunday. I forgot how to play melee. I've been playing range too much. I forgot how to play melee. Jesus Christ. I cannot find anyone to do this with. Oh my god, I forgot how to play this. No! It's okay, I'll... fully resisted, damn. Well, you know what? I hope for you to have the best rest day ever. That was a rough first pull because someone died. Oh, someone did say hi. Ooh, my bad. Man, this song makes me want to twerk, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Will I remember my rotation when we get in there? Probably not. I think I found a happy medium. For my workouts and being able to study when I'm back to it soon. Oh, nice. Very nice. I hope so. I think we all need to find that little medium, really. I have that crackling sound in my ear at the moment. I kind of remembered it. If we keep bike distance as you continue, I hope so too. I think you got this. Ooh, mother sucker. The fact I gotta go around this son of a gun. Oh, I could sit right here. Well, that person didn't even allow me to get out of that AoE. You could have moved. What the fuck? Sorry. You know what? Ridiculous and shape for seemingly no reason. You know what? I can read. I swear, I promise. It's because I'm in dungeon and trying to read this quickly before paying attention to what the hell I'm doing in this. I think I would love to be back in shape. Like, a lot of my habits eating have kind of changed, but also I think that's thanks to... Fuck, I can't do that. I think a lot of the changes I have made, kind of thanks to getting sick at the moment. I don't think I'm still sick, but here, take that, bird. The most unnecessary stun. I think it goes away if I would try anything else. Oh, this is the one that has the big turtle. I'll say that's purely a sound cue thing. Oh, why she go that way? I think you can knockback resist that. I was gonna try, but I forgot the button for it. I really have to uniform all of my melees. Would make it great when I make my career change to being a pilot too. You know what? Very true. Very true. For some reason, I keep thinking I'm attached to a wire, but I'm not. I'm wearing the wireless A50s that I want from Lena. But there are times where I'm like, so I actually switch. I switch between my A50s, and when they get low, I go back to my other Logitech headphones that I had before I won the ones from Lena. So we don't think like, oh my god, he's so rich. No, no, no. I won these wireless headphones from Lena, and I hope one day to win again so I can get the little streamer cam they have. You think that they probably think I'm popping Reawakening to be weird? Never mind. Why aren't you going in this room? Go in the room. Damn, that takes so much health. We're almost done with this. Wait, is it Vanguard that has it? It's Vanguard. Never mind. Vanguard is the one that has that one boss where... Excuse me. Oh, I am so screwed. All right, final boss. Yippee. I thought that would actually... Raider, am I? No, not really. Congrats up first, Steven. That's right. Happy birthday. Wish a happy birthday to Steven, guys. Happy birthday to Steven. My voice is still not up to snuff, really. Whee. A salute. Oh, I don't care. Yeah. How's the birthday been so far? What? Sorry, I just read something in Link Shelf. I was like, what? I mean, people 14 are crazy. People on 14 are crazy. Oh no. I can speak English. I swear. I promise. Oh man. Yeah, people on 14 are wild. There are stories. gonna reassign my stuff real quick. All right, so we got one leveling dungeon down, and now we have a few more to go. It'd be funny if I just did from like all like newest to oldest in terms of those dungeons. Like that one was Origenics is pretty much the last Dawn Trail based Dawn Trail dungeon that you can do. Are you guys enjoying retainer content right now? Because wow, look at it. It's like it's so cool. It's so nice. Let's see. All right, Vanguard is the next one. That's the one that's really difficult if you are actually, you know what? Might as well get, oh my god, you know what we should do? We're gonna roulette it. We're gonna oh, I can only do up to 5. That sucks. I wanted to do, okay, you know what? Here, we'll do Vanguard. Let's do it on, also, what are my, ooh. Oh, I'm capped for the week. Wow. You know what that is? That is just getting on the game every day since the patch dropped. I think I also did Fates. Fates give you red tone. So they give you these. They give you these as well. I think they give you both. I'm not sure. I can't remember. What am I gonna do for Vanguard? I'll stick with melee actually. Vanguard. Let's go. Let's see. How fast are we gonna get in? But yeah, once again, happy birthday. Hope your birthday has been going very swell. My nose is still congested. You know, as we get older, I'm sure a lot of things get put into perspective. Damn. I was gonna get rid of all this materia. I said, no, you can't get rid of that materia. You are forbidden from getting rid of that materia. Another war. Oh, wow. That's a lot. I think Vanguard, before all the other stuff came out, had the best cosmetics in the game. Oh, wait, I don't have the other part of this. No. I am sad, bro. What the hell? Why do I feel slow on this? Also, congrats on this streak. That's a big streak. That's a big streak, man. These ugly heifers. Get on my nerves with their AoEs. Flawless. I didn't do the right one there. Yippee! We did it. The next boss is the one that's gonna give the most issues melee wise. I don't know why I thought. I'll greet it. I think I can put that in my armoire now. I think I can. Yeah, I can. Never mind. I'm silly. I don't have the full fending set, I think. I think that's the one I really wanted to get. Every time I run this, I never see it drop. It feels like a very rare drop. I did the wrong one. Also, there is to support a streamer campaign going on. If you want to help support the stream while also getting a reward yourself, you can sub to the channel, give 2 subs, or you can give 3 subs. I don't know why they moved them all the way over here. And you get them out. This guy's gonna be the one. There's a mechanic in this fight where... Oh yeah, here it is. Oh, that happens a lot faster. Whoa, that happens a lot faster than I remember it. Ow. Oh my god, here we go again. Sooner or later, there's just gonna be walls I can put up. I didn't mean to do that. Well, Healer can do it now. What the heck? Oh, I got the mask. Nice. It reminds me of the Fortnite mask. Like that one character from Fortnite with the mask on. It reminds me of that. Screaming. Breaking. Ba, 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 I'm trying to find the combination that gives me that like downward Hadoken. Okay, it's not that one. I like how they're just gonna do it anyways. But it's really hard to tell if I did the move. What the hell? Final boss time! New challenger! I can't do it like the Tekken guy. I wish I could. Imagine if I had the pipes like the Tekken guy. Oh my god. I was barely paying attention right there and I almost just like went in. I like how this is the quickest you'll see a boss go down until like the second phase kicks in. Gonna run in a circle. Gonna run in a circle. No more games. That's on me because I was trying to spit. I did the wrong move. It took me a while to get used to rear guard and foreguard. Yeah, there's no way to do the other thing. Was there anything else that came from this dungeon? Oh, the pick the weapon. I am not interested. I am not interested in the pick the weapon because I have it already, pretty much. I have it already. One second. Okay. Let's see. So we've cleared 2 of the 5 dungeons from base Dontrell, and we still have 2 of the expert left. So here's what I'm gonna do. All right, we're gonna click on these last 3 and Mistwake and Cludium, because those are the expert dungeons we haven't done yet, and we're gonna roulette all of them and see what we get. Okay, now that we're down to the nitty gritty of the dungeons. Once we're done with the dungeons, I think we'll go to trials, because the field missions are going to be easy to do, and I'm kind of leaving the easiest stuff to last. The stuff that won't, like, I feel like they won't take 20 years to do, because I got through these pretty fast. Like, even the fates I got through pretty fast, and there are constantly groups going around doing fates. So even if you don't, like, if you finish these little things here first, I say little, but you finish the dungeons, you finish the trials, you finish Arcadion, and the alliance rates. Which the alliance rates, I'm pretty sure you can just get in. I wish I was on this step the other day, because I would have had second walk done. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I would have had second walk done. Because like I didn't roulette the other day. So yeah. All right, let's see what we get. We're not gonna play on this. I'm gonna play. You know what? We'll do Pictomancer. Wow, we got Mistwake. I should have known. But like, yeah, get Mistwake out of the way first. All right. Yep. Are just like, oh, are we here for relics? Yes, yes, we are. We are here for relics. I'm not even doing it on pick though. I'm just here so I won't get fined. Bum, 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 bum. The thing I love about being no, the snapshot. Oh, oh, that's crazy. Oh, we're losing that rock by accident. Shit, I shouldn't have rose right there. There's no way I make it. I didn't think, you know what? Maybe I was too far into that AoE at first, and then I ate it. I ate it hard. Da, da, da. I freaking ate it hard, man. Damn. I didn't get it in time. I was wondering why he didn't give me that at first. We're gonna get through it. I promise. I promise. We'll get through it. Oh my god, that was so bad. Oh, I'm so sorry. It's like midway through, I started feeling raspy, and I was like, oh. Well, kiss my ass. And speed boost. I'm so happy it's Friday, but I know I'm gonna still be able to have the most optimal time with Pookie after this. Bio 2. I love Bio 2. Makes you feel relieved. Oh, that went right through me. I'm really doing bad as a range, but at least Hillary has something to do, I guess. I did that late. Yippee! Once again, we've made it through. Once again. Mistwake has to be one of my favorite dungeons. Out of like the patches. I think it's this one. And maybe there's a little bias because it's legit just the pathway to where we're going now, to Trano, which they faithfully recreated, like a good part of it. Not so fast, partner. I don't know if I could sleep them, but yeah, no, I can sleep that in time. I think after this, I will take a little break. I wasn't sure how in there I was. That's the tornado going out. Frick. %, dude. Oh my god, I didn't mean to stream that. Jesus. Aw. Me. GG's! I was so excited to get out of there. Hey, what do you mean? Okay, I'm gonna take a little break. I will be right back. I also have not been eating food for these dungeons at all. That is very wild. Sinful, some would say. Okay, they're back. Ba 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 da ba da ba da ba 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 da ba 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 da ba da 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 ba da da ba. Wow, crazy. Okay. Oh my fucking back, brother. Do we still have our roulette? We do. All right, so we take off Mist Wake. Now we just have one expert and 3 base dungeons left. Ooh. I wonder which one we get next. Sorry. Yeah, both Parrish and I think are both missing double trouble. A double trouble. But we're able to get the other 2. That is so funny. There's one that just won't drop. Is this the first? Oh my god, Skybeam. Wow. Who is this? Oh, they're red mage. This Cenote. She better have a bob, girl. She better work that bob. Set it on fire like this bob. Did I eat food? I did not. I'm gonna just do this real quick. You have 2 people here who can sleep in a base. This is the first time I've done this dungeon in so long. Whoa. Whee! Why did I think of the Bosha theme? How dare they target me like that? The hell? Free company. I forgot what this does. Okay, that's what it was. Wow, I'm actually behind. Surprisingly. Oh, I looked away. No. Well, thank God we have Res Mage. Oh, shit. You know, it's been a while. And it's been a while. All right, girl, get out of there. Girl, get out of there. Bitch. It's this way. Oh, there we go. They covered me. Wait, hold on. I was not ready for that. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that wholeheartedly. Oh, dude, I do not like this first boss at all. Do I still have it? Oh, okay, I gotta do my paintings all over again. I'm just gonna paint because they have the rest of this. God, that was rough for me. I don't remember it being that rough. I don't remember it being that rough. They look like little bee spiders or something. I feel like I was better off when I didn't put on, like I didn't eat food on here. On the game. Like real life, I should always eat food. Nourishment is key. Oh, we do have a white me. That's rude. How dare you spawn more enemies? Kidding. I swear, these hacking people. I thought I got out of that in time, but I guess not. Oh my god, it's the mount. Well, not really. It's like a frozen version, or like the one from the Society Quest. Okay, don't slide past me. I don't even care anymore. I forgot about this mechanic. Okay. It's like I'm relearning a whole ass dungeon again, because I haven't done this in so long. The way my eyes got wide. Okay, yippee. That was... Okay, wait, this is the... I'm actually trying to think which... This space dungeon, is this... third? Fourth? Third? Oh yeah, one of the peeps in our FC Went to see Spider-Man, the new one, and they're talking about how there's Spider-Man spoilers out there already. Which reminds me how much I dislike. Oh my god, I didn't even. Terrible pictomancer I am. This part is pretty cool, actually. I like it. I don't think there's anything from this dungeon that's like pretty good, cosmetic wise. I am not gonna remember this last boss either. Me thinking I'm coming into this dungeon and going to do great, and then I don't. Cock Max. Oh my god, if I remember. Okay, yeah, it's exactly as I thought. I can barely see this guy. Oh. You know what? This led to so many discussions between me and my old FC. I realized when I was back on Hyperion. Because they're talking about the difficulty of the dungeons and how they increase, and I was sitting here like, I kind of like that there's a bit of a challenge now to the dungeons. And I still do. It's making me pay attention for the most part. Mother trucker. Is it this side? I guess so. If you stayed on one of those sides, you got yeeted off the map. I'm not leaving here with that stuff. Take that stuff with you. What the hey? What the hey? Gonna make me leave with that. Okay, so we have 3 dungeons left. We have 3 dungeons left. It feels like it's going backwards in the base one. But I guess a lot of people are starting like from base and going up instead of however the hell I was doing it at first. Before I decided, hey, let's roulette it. I want to look up something really quick. Give me a moment, chat. Oh, excuse me. Oh my god. Took a lot of me. Interesting. Interesting. Also, one of my VODs did not upload, so I might have to cancel it and retry it. I went through the other process, but it hasn't uploaded. Also, yes, I started uploading the VODs to YouTube, so they last practically forever. I don't know if I want them to last forever. No, I'm kidding. They last a lot longer, pretty much. Unless something happens to the channel or me, it doesn't last as long. Okay, so we have 3 left. Let's see, what do we get next? Actually, I might go melee for this. Summer. So summer, very summer, much summer. I could bring the gunbreaker fit back out that I made. It was fun. I feel like I would have to change it a little bit. Just a little bit. It's confirming my theories that people are starting from the earlier ones and working their way up instead of whichever other way I was doing it. I'm not gonna lie, I thought the Hrothgar was the tank. Oh my god, I'm not the only summer person here. Look at me and the cat boy. If this Hrothgar don't get off me. Can I select Aaronville? I can. But I gotta fight, so I can't blow him a kiss. I always hit the wrong button. Oh my god. I'm a flop. Ew, ugly fish. Get him out. They finally beat that bird. Damn. It took them 20 years to do that. Wow. Big boys. I didn't go to the side for that one or flank. He's so mean. This is the part of Dawn Trail I wish was more like how they advertised it. Wee! 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 Dirty water! Wee! Oh, we're just ankle deep, almost knee deep in water. Jesus. I hit the wrong button. I did not think I was gonna make it. Actually, ended up getting hit. That's crazy. Don't think I deserve to get hit on that, but you know, okay. Yippee, we're out of there. So 2 dungeons left. It's Pludium and... Oh my god. Not me blinking on the last one. That's in base game. Like base Dawn Trail. Oh yeah, it's our goose elves. Oh my god, I accidentally splashed tea on myself. I'm really good at this. And now we take the ladder. Oh yeah, that's right. They I stopped paying attention for like 2 seconds. See our goo. I'll help them green. Please give me green. Boo. That was weird. It felt like there was a delay between my inputs for a second. Maybe I'm dreaming. Also need to check something, see if my timer is actually active. I like that little. Can't see this one. Ah! Hmm. Oh, did they take out the? I was waiting for a move to happen, but or the mech to happen, but I guess we took it out before. Or ladders to climb. These chests have been getting open. Oh boy, here it comes. I think someone I know says that the sound from those rolling like hot plant creatures annoys them, and I don't know. Maybe it's me. They don't annoy me that much when I hear them, I guess. Does that happen with anyone else? Ow, mother. Frick. What level minus one? 92, I think. Oh yeah, this is a starter one. That's the first one we go in. I was afraid that I was about to pull it and I wouldn't have meant to. I think I'm just on autopilot. Oh, that's a lot of people. I was kind of hoping it would select that big dude right there, but I guess not. Pretty sure I need caffeine, and I might just do so after this. Man, I haven't really played Rivals in a bit after, what, last week? I think it was like Wednesday last week. Yeah, beat his ass. That was on me. That was definitely on me. I haven't had lunch yet either. Oop. Oh. That was right before it hit me. Jeez Louise. You know what, Picto, you get it because everyone else left. Whew. Okay. We have 2 dungeons left. 2 dungeons left. Wild, crazy, free. I like how this section is glowing because of the fact that, oh my god, there's like 1 left on each. Which one will it be? Place your... Actually, you know what? While I'm away... Who? Which dungeon will up? I'm gonna put it up for 5 minutes. I don't know if I'm gonna be gone for 5 minutes. Putting it up for that long. Actually, I might get lunch while I'm doing this. So while I'm away. Maybe it will be 5 minutes. What is it? Core Zormor or I have to go down. There you go. I should probably put there. Predictions. I'll be right back. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. I remember this one. Obviously, I remember this one. Let's see which one we get. Actually, God, I love zero sugar stuff. Actually, let me see if he's away or not. Oh, he is. He's knocked out. He's knocked out. He's knocked out. Okay, well, let's see which one we get. Either that or he's getting through it. There's another medium going up in Shiro. Next cycle. I'm gonna try for. I don't know if I'm actually gonna get it. But I always think that any house that goes up is worth a try. Especially if it's in a spot that I really want. I think the spots for Shirogane that people want are exactly the spots that people would go for. So even though I'm not really a big fan of the way these houses right here on the beach face each other, or how they're turned, or the way they're facing, I would still go for this house. It's a medium, so I would go for this medium. I think the obvious mediums here would be very obvious. This medium right here. I would also go for this large if I ever had enough money again to go for this large. I'll go for that large. This medium right here, I would go for because it's right by the Hidden Shores. And that medium right there. That medium right there. Man, they're about to see that I am the most trash samurai in all of the... Wait a minute. We don't have a healer. We don't have a healer, chat. I just noticed we lost a healer. Yeah, we oh, I messed up there. Sucks for them. Oh wow, yeah. I was like, wait a second, hold on. Hold on. We don't have a healer. What in tarnation? We are gonna need a healer. I'm trying to remember exactly where and why. Oh, we got a healer. Look at that. That was so wild because I was like, I've never loaded into a duty but it's only 3 people. They really did not want Wakor. Wait, was he AFK? Oh, he's in bed having tablet time. Okay. That went faster now that we have a healer. I'm thinking which one of these are gonna get frozen first. I guess it's a good thing that we're getting this one out the way first. I'm trying to think, is this the one where I know the mechanics for the end boss? But I'm trying to think if it's the one. It's escaping me. Okay, we made it through. Those first two pulls were very clean. Without a healer. And then we got one. I'm gonna get this out of my arsenal now. I did that late. Oh, ugly monsters. Oh, real monster head ass. Why'd I do that? Oh my god. We. The bird with the that puts the lines on the floor. I just thought of the mechanic. It's like green crystals or something that lay down on the ground. I thought I did the other one. No. They're very determined. They seem to be very determined to get that AoE off. Like, okay, it is what I thought it was. Okay. Am I in melee range? Oh, I am. I'm silly. Don't mind me. I'm refreshing this because I felt like I didn't have enough time to do anything else. That's mean. That's freaking mean. Okay, can you stop with that, sir? Oh, which way? Okay, it's this way. Luckily, no one has actually... Yeah, like no one has opened chests. Which is good. I did that late, so now I don't have it. Not anymore. Wow! Cheap shot. The parting shot. Probably a bad idea to do it on this pole, but I couldn't tell you which one was doing that one. Doing that AoE. It would have just did it again anyways. And final boss. I got stuck. Son of a biscuit eating bulldog. Hey, bud. I heard you have some nice groceries for us. I'm forgoing a whole ass opener right now. I remember. Yeah. I think you can do this, right? I'm too lazy. Gradual expansion. It's multiple.
Implacable strength of the mountain, be mine!
Oh, didn't mean to do that. All of us scrambling to get that.
Your thunder roars! That you should endure my fury. Chronicles of Hell, record the cruelty
Oh, knockback.
merciless storms.
This part always got me because he always turns away from us. Oh yes, sir. Come on. Oh, daddy-o. You know what? Your mothers. They know what they were doing. They know exactly what they were doing. Anyways, back to our tour. Back to our tour. Actually, this house, this small right here, I would totally go for this one. And funny enough, in a YOLO moment, the one time that this property went up. I actually went for it and lost, but there are like 100 something people that went for that. It's like 1 to 200 something people went for that plot. And I was like, bruh, bruh. I honestly was happy that I didn't win on that one because I did not know what I was gonna do with a large. Had no idea what I was gonna do with it. It feels like such a daunting task. Feels like a daunting task. One task I don't. Why do I have notification? Topic is enough. Okay. We respond to Pookie. 1 second. All right, that leaves one. They really left the last dungeon that we've done so far for the last dungeon that we do, which is the Cludium or the Clidium, whichever one you want to say, I guess. Whichever one you want to say. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Oh my goodness. Oh my Jesus. Okay. Cludium. The last one that we need. We have cleared all the leveling dungeons. All of them. They're done. Select martial memory. Oh. Is it gonna say the same here after? So I'm guessing they're gonna ask us to select which one after we've done everything. I wonder. That's quite wild, baby. I tell you what. Let me see if this actually. It's really not uploading that one VOD. I have to retry it? I'll do it after stream, along with the second VOD. For today's VOD, I'm gonna upload to export directly to YouTube. Directly? Directly? Where's my Opera GX? Probably a terrible idea. Maybe a terrible idea. Oh, that's. What the hell? I'm actually shocked that this has a longer wait time than all the earlier dungeons. You would think more people are doing this one because it is the last one that came out. Oh, it finally popped. Oh, it finally popped. We didn't lose people again, did we? This is the last dungeon we needed, and we're on to trials. Woo! That is so rude! Bastard. Always happens. I kind of wish that. I mean, it's a blast, so I kind of wish it. Me, I just want to take one bite out of my soup. The game, I don't give a shit about your soup. Oh my god, they actually got the. Ooh.
Appreciate the help.
I love the in unison pop of the
We'll handle things from here. Take care of the fisher.
of the potion. You know what's great about this? I gotta stand all the way back over here real quick. Why did the auto attack have to go off right there, bastard? Staying right over here. Skeleton! I honestly think flamethrower is the most hilarious move they ever gave to a range, like a physical range DPS. Because it's like, what do you mean I get to stand there for 12 seconds, barring any AoEs want to murder me? And just throw fire. Set it on fire. Like this bomb. Letting auto attack do all the work. Like, you see what I mean? Like, you can just sit there. I'm standing in it. I don't care. Oh, never mind. It was done anyways. Wasn't worth it. Short. It's short. Whee. I did that wrong. My bad, healer. I didn't mean to do that. Oh well. Yippee! We are so good. We are so back. Wow. Wow. What's this? Can I be honest? I feel like a lot of these dungeons have gone by pretty fast. Or maybe it's just my imagination running away with me, but it feels like they've gone by. Maybe everyone's just geared up. Yippee! Um. I don't know why I did that. That was me being silly. I love Bioblaster. It and its multiple uses. See, Flamethrower did the job. You know, Angela Bassett did the thing. Flamethrower did the job. You know what? I deserve that. For not paying attention. They look so pretty. Oh, I didn't do the thing, did I? I did. I did it too late. Oh, I'm screwed. It's that big? I would have waited. I guess it doesn't matter. Jeez. Chat, we are finally done with dungeons. I don't mind helping people with dungeons, actually. Like, run through them. It'll be fun. A lot of the dungeons for Dontrell were pretty damn fun. Like, a lot of the earlier ones were pretty fun. A lot of these were really fun. Vanguard, really fun. Virginics. This one also pretty fun. Oh no, all of them were pretty fun. Pretty engaging. What else could I say except you're welcome? Look at the rabbit. Look at Hades, but in plushy form. Is that Elden Beast? The Elden Beast. Live and in living color in the Elden Ring crossover we never knew we wanted. For the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV. Dungeons. Alright, so that leaves me Trials, the Alliance raids, and the entirety of the Arcadia. What I'm gonna do is just get M2 out the way now. I'm gonna get M2 out the way right. I think if there is a roulette of raids I found annoying, it is this one. This one actually wasn't that bad. This one, actually none of these were annoying. I actually enjoyed all 4 of these. Like, there's not one raid where I was just like, you know what? This feels tedious. The running around feels tedious. But it did feel very range friendly for this tier. M9, in particular, especially in Savage, which still haven't cleared this tier, so I can only talk about M9 since that's the only one I've seen in Rage 4. There's a mechanic where you have this electrical tower that has a spread AoE, and I say spread AoE, but like it starts small and then spreads out. That's the best way I can describe it. But it has this AoE that spreads out, and obviously if you touch it, you get like a damage down or something below, like a debuff. But you have to hit this tower within a certain amount of time before you are no longer within melee range. If you're melee, if you're ranged, you take over the damage on that tower, while melee goes for like the next spread type of tower, AoE tower. So, that one felt very much I noticed this going through the Savage, and I was like, man. All right, so I'm gonna do M2, and then I'll call it a day. I can do like some of this other stuff offline. But most likely, when you see me next on stream, it'll be next week. Since to see if I'm feeling a lot better. I haven't really coughed a lot, except for like a few times earlier today, but that's it. I still have some stuff that comes up when I'm trying to talk. But I think streams can go back to regular schedule. It's been nice to like do stuff a little earlier than usual. It has been really nice to do that. Okay. Here's here's the craziest thing I'm thinking right now. And that is I only like killing 8 men. I only like killing 8 men. I don't know why. I just do. It feels fun. Well, the normals. I don't know about the EXs yet. I thought about it once, but I was like, oh, what if I fuck up? Because there's a lot of heal checks on those. And I feel like I would just mess up on something. Or have something that's not save something for an important moment. I guess. Anyways, going into Sage. Let's pop this. And this. That's the last thing I'll do today. On stream. But we made some pretty good progress. We got dungeons out the way. So that's good. Almost done with the Doctel field operations. So maybe that soon. Yeah, next time you see me on stream, maybe it'll be raids still. Raids trials. Those might take a lot less time though. So who knows? If people need help with it, I don't mind. Jesus Christ.
The Honeybee Lovely Show has begun.
Let's put on a lovely show for the audience. Submit to your
Did they not
queen.
see me put?
Beautifully dodged. A vicious blow. Oh, that'll leave a mark.
I did that late.
Hope you're ready for me to steal your heart.
Now to savor the sweet sting of Honeybee's charms. Oh, she's definitely feeling your love.
Just a top up.
Can the challenger resist the irresistible? I know I can't.
I was like, someone's not gonna go in that tower? There's too many in that tower.
Alas, her charms were not to be denied.
Oh, they got him. If you enjoy your life, you'll move.
I'll make you mine. Is everyone having a good time?
I just decided to go with that instead.
A little taste to make it interesting.
This also goes by really fast now. Like, we're almost done with this.
Here comes a fearsome venom strike!
No hard feelings if I kill you?
We did not make it in time.
What?
That's okay.
You're kidding me.
Oh, you're kidding me. It's such a goofy.
Brilliant.
It's such a goofy thing. You know what? Let's do the other M3.
It's all over. Until next time.
Sorry, I have a thing from Nightcrawler. Anyways. What the hell? Oh no. Oh no. Oh hey. You should have said it. That's crazy. All right, let me do this annoying other one. Is it Cruiserweight M3? Yes, Cruiserweight M3. I like getting the most annoying ones out the way because, man, they're not fun. Okay? They're not fun. Shake your bob. Shake your bob. Shake your bob. Shake the bob. Shake the bob. Shake the bob. All right, last one, then I get off a stream. I swear to God, if there's gonna be like everyone in their 17th cousin doing shield healing for these raids, I'm gonna cry. Not really cry, but like, man, no one communicates. So it sucks in Duty Finder. No one goes, hey, you want to do like the first shield and then I do the second? Or can I do the first and then you follow up on the next like big raid wide or whatever? No one does that. I know it's just casual content, but man. 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 For some reason, I keep taking off my headset as if I'm not wearing a wireless headset. Amaze. Weird. Weird. I don't know why that has to be like a new vocal stem, right? For me, at least. Weird. Oh my god, the Raw is War theme. Let's go.
To take it outside, the brute abominator means business. Will the unenhanced warrior be able to contend with this chimerical foe?
Here, just in case.
He's used his feral powers to manifest a weapon. Oh, a brutal blow! But the contender is standing firm.
Are these the... Yep. Fiendish Flora. Pre-positioned myself.
Oh my! Even the cameras have been petrified, and now they're crashing down all over.
No! They're not who I wanted! Oh, that's right. I used it for the other one. Here, have that.
Can they turn this around?
Whee! I used to mistime that so much. Oh, they died.
The brute abominator is hanging on the building.
I see why I got this one out the way first. This one is an out. That person doesn't understand that. His knife is when you go in. His club is when you go out. Is this when he goes over? Yes.
He's bounding from wall to wall.
He's going over here next. Oh my God. I did out of panic, I'm not gonna lie. Next is going down.
cameras in there at once. The destruction appears to have started a fire.
A fire. All right, wherever he goes next, that's where we have to go. Well, he has both out, I think, right? Yeah. Just like earlier. Oh, I'm sorry. It's whatever glows. Oh, get out of that side.
Alani, the brute bomber must still be in there somewhere. A Punisher attack. Oh, the true power of this monstrous fusion.
Yeah, whatever glows.
What a thrilling battle this, and it rages on.
I did not shield that. That's on me. Oh, that's not me. I was the one to take that. I'm surprised I remembered all of that. I'm really surprised I remembered all of that. Well, fun fight, after all. Still trying to remember all of that is kind of annoying though. Going after the ones that annoyed me when I first did them. Okay. That's gonna do for me. It's weekend, so enjoy your weekends. I will see y'all most likely Monday. Yeah, I'll see y'all Monday. Let me check something. I think the only day I probably won't see y'all will be Friday. Yeah, Friday, because I have a CT scan on Friday. So, and that's in the afternoon, so I won't be going live on Friday. But Monday through Thursday, I'll regular times. Monday through Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern, and then 2 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. So we're back to normal. Pretty much. We're back to normal. Where is my music? Where is my music? You know what? This one. Okay. Let me see who's on. Today was fun though. I must say, today was fun. Curious about something. Oh my god. I'm seeing people back on 14 that I haven't seen on 14 in ages. I'm seeing y'all Aurora. They're doing some OC grind with friends. Show them some love. Oh wait, they just went offline. Never mind. Never mind. Oh, let me refresh my thing. I said they were online. How dare? What the hell was that? I had to turn that down because I felt like I was being drowned out. I felt like I was being drowned out. Mm. I was looking for another 14 person to raid, but I don't really have anyone else that plays 14 that I really like know. No? Oh well. Alright, I'll see y'all Monday. Right and at the usual time instead. I appreciate y'all for hanging out. Have a good weekend. Take care of yourselves, each other, most for your friends and family. See y'all. Bye.